Whatever is going on over there at the Garden, the dysfunction that Phil Jackson added to it is almost like dysfunction on steroids. And I've had enough of it. And I would not go and watch a game anymore. And now with everything that's gone on, you know, the potential trading of Porzingis, the unicorn, the problem between he and Carmelo Anthony, they don't play defense. Some of the comments that he has made around the draft about how he thought his team played defense much better towards the end of the year, even though the score and the record didn't reflect it. I'm like, what is this guy doing? And I've been saying it for over a year, Wally, and you work over there, and I know I worked over there for many years. I feel like Jim Dolan really wants to win, and he wants to spend the money to win, and he'll invest in anybody he possibly can to get this thing right on the basketball side of things. And yet his decision making and the people that he's put into power over there, now it's Phil Jackson. Before that, it was Isaiah Thomas. It has been an unmitigated disaster, and it's been going on now for about 10 years. Yeah. And I watch what happened. I can't tell you that I'm surprised about what happens, because nothing surprises me in the world of sports here in New York. But finally it happens, and like I said, I think it's bad timing now, because whoever comes in to take over, whether it be Steve Mills, who now has got to clean up some of this mess, is behind the eight ball, because free agency is going to start. They did not get their chance to make the pick in the draft. This is Phil's pick, and Phil's picks, I should say. But maybe Dolan just had enough.
Yeah, I think that has to be the case. And this goes to show you that with all the dysfunction with the players, it kind of shows that, you know, the players are running things over there.
Well, you know, Carmelo Anthony wins, because they did not want to buy out the $54 million left on his contract.
And you buy out Phil's 20 or whatever he has left.
$24 million. So it's a lesser of two evils. There's no question about that. But and finally, thankfully, you know, now all of a sudden maybe whatever tension had been building over there over the last 6 months is finally out of the building. And you're right, the players do win. Now
the players got to play, though.
Yeah, but now comes the next decision. Who is going to run the team? Who is going to? Are we going to go down the path of Isaiah Thomas again? Because remember, Isaiah is now in the building, and he's run the Liberty. It's a totally different animal than the Knicks. You know, they've had some success with him there, but I can't imagine that he would be bringing Isaiah Thomas back to run the Knicks.
Listen, I love your passion as to who's running the team. I don't care who's running the team. Look at Cleveland. They don't care who's running the team. They're about to hire Chauncey Billups. The players are the ones that are putting the ball in the basket out there. I was a former player. The players got to look at themselves and say, "Hey, I got to play on the floor." That's what it's got to come down to. I understand organizations win from the top down. I agree with you. Dolan wants to win. He spends money. He opens up his checkbooks. But the bottom line is, in basketball, one player or maybe two players can have a huge impact on the floor, and they can turn a franchise around. We've seen it with Cleveland with LeBron. We saw it with Durant in Oklahoma City. The bottom line is the Knicks have to get that transcendent player. They thought it was Carmelo Anthony. He used to be that player back in his prime, back in his 20s. When he got to the Knicks, he wasn't quite the same player, especially on the defensive end of the floor. And we're pointing fingers all over the place, but in basketball, almost more so than any sport, one or two players can completely make a difference. And unfortunately, the Knicks haven't had that Walt Frazier. They haven't had that Patrick Ewing in this generation since 2000.
Well, you know, and the point being is that when you are Phil Jackson and you have Michael Jordan as your best player, now all of a sudden you're a great
Pippen
coach.
And Shaq and Kobe Bryant, that makes you look a lot smarter.
I know, but it goes back years and years and years. It goes back to Magic Johnson. It goes to Larry Bird. It goes to Patrick Ewing. When you have that super stud, the Tim Duncans of the world, that show up every day, that want to practice every day, that want to go out there and compete every day, it makes the coach's job in the NBA a hell of a lot easier. I call the NBA an entitlement league. Because they're guaranteed contracts. If they go and trade Carmelo, he gets another $6 million on top of the $24 million or whatever the hell he's making, which is
that trade kicker is
mind-boggling.
I had that in my contract.
You did.
When I got traded.
And you couldn't wait to get traded. I mean, I understand you guys are like entitled. Trade me. I get more money. I don't care. Plus, they probably pay for your move and buy your house.
Yeah, they do. They pay for your moving. It's a lot of heartache. It's tough moving your family.
Yeah. Plus, you get a little extra kicker in the back end. But his kicker is $6 million. Yeah, I mean that's a kicker that I would more.
And the team trading for you pays that. The team trading for you pays that.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So the incentive is not to acquire somebody like Carmelo Anthony, because it's tied to the maximum amount of the contract.
Exactly.